going on, everybody? Mike McFarland here, the Lakeport Fishing Guide. I'm going to give you a public rundown for May 24th, 2022. How about we talk about the board? Some things have changed since we talked last. You should have had a Friday report, and the water temperatures were much higher. The lakes dropped just a tiny bit, but let's just show you. So we were at 80s and 84s. Now we dropped down to 78 degrees, and as of this morning, 76.4. A cold front came through on Sunday. It really changed things. Cooled off that offshore fish really kind of moved because of it, and they came back up in a lot. Some of the offshore stuff that we're fishing is blank. There's no fish there right now. There's no bait there anymore. It was really unique this morning. I had to move up shallow again and fish like I was fishing 3 weeks ago. But lake clarity, still good, 1 to 2 foot visibility. Lake is falling, not real fast, but it's falling. 39744, 39742 as of today. In good shape, but again, it was just kind of like a backup, cold front. North wind on Sunday, really on Saturday even. The trend was different, big time. So yesterday, man, cold, cool weather, 70s for the highs, 60s for the lows. The next few days, that's really what you got. 56 for a low tomorrow, 56 for a low Thursday, 52 for a low Friday. When do you remember May being that cool for the morning for the low? 71 high, 84 high on Friday. Big cool trend, big cool trend. You know, I'm really experiencing this firsthand, and it feels like we're a month behind in the weather, period. It feels like everything, we're still having thunderstorms. It's May 24th, and rounds of those are coming through like they do in April. It's Texas, so Texas has crazy weather, and the variable every year is so different. I've been here 8 years, 9th season under belt, and tracked this, you know, logged this, done all this every time, and there's no 2 years alike, period. I mean, nothing coincides together date to date. It's really, really a very difficult area, part of the country to predict. The Midwest, the South, but this Northeast Texas area, we can have no winter. Like in 2016, the lowest temperature was 36 degrees. It never went below 36 degrees. Last year, 2021, we had 7 days where it didn't get above 26 degrees with a -4, 4 degree low. Not negative, but a 4 degree low. This year, we have literally had cold fronts coming from November, December, January, February, March, April, and now May. 7 straight months of at least a cold front. And in some parts of this year, the season, January, February, there's no warm trend in between. Temperature, you know, usually in Texas, we'll get 3 days cold front, 3 days cold, 1 day warm trend, or 2 day warm trend, or 3 day warm trend, 4 days cold, and it just kind of roller coasters. We've talked about it before. We talked about it being the Texas two-step, 2 days warm trend, 3 days cool trend, and just it really goes, fish go in and out like two-step. We never had any of that this year. It was just cold. It was cold January and colder through February. Not to be redundant, but here we are, May 24th, big rounds of thunderstorms coming through tonight, potentially 1 to 2 inches of rain, but we'll see. It was supposed to be big rain coming Saturday, didn't even come at all. The weatherman have made, this job isn't easy for them, and they really made a lot of predictions this year that just they're not even in the ballgame. They're predicting baseball and football games happening. It's pretty bad, but hey, it's something you can't predict. So we're not dogging on them, but it is what it is. So, but let's share some things with you. There is still a great bite out there, and if you followed the elite anglers, the BASS elite anglers were here this last Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It took over 20 pounds average per day just to make the cuts from 87 of the very best pro anglers in the world. It took 4 bags over 100 for first, second, third, and fourth place. That's 4 days, 20 fish. And we have in fourth place Shane LaHue with 100 pounds, 9 ounces. In third place and second place, really tied with Gerald Swindle and Brandon Palnick, 102 pounds, 2 ounces. And then the overall winner, once again, back-to-back champion, unbelievable, Lee Livesey with 113 pounds and 11 ounces for 20 bass. It's amazing, first of all, that there were 4 sacks, 4 pros that had hit the 100-pound mark, 5 fish a day. That's a 25-pound average. To win this thing is even a little bit more. And Livesey, congratulations to Livesey and his family and his newborn daughter. I watched him work. I know this business. I work hard as a guide. I used to compete. I was never an elite angler. Obviously, I never made it to that level. And I've watched it, but I've been around it all my life, and I know how hard they work. And I'm going to tell you, they don't work any harder than Lee Livesey did. And one of my friends was a judge with him. Man, that guy went to blows on this lake. He went to war with Lake Fork, and he deserves to win. It wasn't, some people could say that he's a local, he's a guide. Usually that plays to the downside of him. It's tougher. You know so much of the lake that it's tougher to perform 4 days in a row. But in this case, it was not to his advantage, but he attacked it. He straight out just attacked this lake, and he won. He won again. So the main things were crankbaits, deep diving crankbaits. The 6 Cents brand was what Lee was throwing, and he really crushed a lot of his fish on that. I think that's what made the first couple of days, which really put him in got the gist of his deal going. Once the cold front hit, that did change, but there was some topwater bite as well. A lot of the pros fish topwater all day long, and they still played the game pretty well and cashed checks. The big jig, a big football jig was huge. For Lee, it was the 6 Cents jig. And then the big worms, the big trick worms and the big power worms were huge. And that was really the main gist of what we saw guys fishing. There was guys like Chris Zaldane throwing glide baits a little bit, throwing wake baits and things, and big baits, trying to make some comebacks and get those bigger giant fish bites. Sometimes when you fall behind, you got to throw for a bigger fish, and on Fork it can happen. You can go out and catch a couple of giant fish and turn your weight around in a real quick hurry. But the gist was crankbaits, some topwater, big jigs, and big worms. Now, I will share with you that on Thursday, I have to guide in this lake. I have to, and all of us, a lot of us do. There's some hem and a haw that we shouldn't be out there, and we should be out there, and there's a debate on it. Here's how I feel. Number one, I don't believe that there's a pro out there that didn't expect guides to be working. That's not fair. Myself or any other guide should not be expected to sacrifice 4 days worth of guiding, $2,000 plus worth of income, just so that the pros can come compete. However, we should absolutely honor them, respect them. They're here one time, they're one time only. And we should do our best to kind of stay out of their way, stay off the water that they're fishing once we know and acknowledge what they're doing. Stay out of their way and respect it. And even in some cases, if we're on something and they want in, let them have it. And so on Thursday, I was fishing, and a few of them did come around the area I was, and I offered it to them. And do I need to move for you? Do I need to leave? And none of them really wanted it. We were just enough doing our own thing that they didn't need to come around us, and it worked out just fine. The cool thing was that my client on Thursday actually had 27 pounds. So I felt very accomplished as a guide. I felt even better for him. He was a good fisherman. But at the end of the day, he felt like, man, he made the top 5 on day 1 with 5 fish for 27 pounds. He actually caught 13 fish. He had about 25 pounds before lunch, and then cold in the afternoon with 1 more big fish. And it just was a really cool, very accomplished day for both of us. Enjoyed it. So thanks. I believe it was Curtis that was with me that day. Congratulations, Curtis. Friday turned rough on me. As a guide, we only caught 2 fish. They were both big fish, but we only had about, I think 13 pounds for 2 fish. And then the same thing happened to me again on Saturday. I did have a lot of little fish on Saturday, but I only had 2 quality fish. And so, to be able to produce that 20 to 25 pound sack every single day, this time of year, it's usually doable, but when those weathers come, the winds were huge on Friday, huge waves, and then the cold front, of course, changed everything. But that's the gist of what's going on. Crankbaits, topwaters, big jigs, big worms. With the cool trend, move back up shallow. All right, we were fishing in 10, 14, 18. We were fishing in post-spawn things offshore. Move back up into the 6 to 8, or maybe even less. This morning I had a great Carolina rig bite, shallow, super shallow. I mean, the fish were 2.5 feet of water. And we caught probably a I don't know, 24 fish with 5 fish for about 21 pounds. A 6, a 5, 2 4s, and a 3 were our biggest. But that was super shallow, boat power pulled down in 5 feet. So listen, really appreciate y'all watching. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the thumbs up. Potentially hit that super likes button or the super thanks button if you think you really like what's going on. And also, I would ask you to potentially consider subscribing to my members only channel. In the members only channel, I really kind of spill my guts a little more than what I've given you here. I actually go into more detail. I talk exactly the baits that I'm throwing or my clients are throwing. I talk colors. I talk techniques. And I also use what's called the rule of 3. The rule of 3 was taught by Mark Pack to me. It's used out on the pro tour by many of the pros. And it'll help narrow you down into a specific area that's best for fishing. Really unique right now is the rule of 3 that I have been teaching in members only was completely and 100% used those same areas by the pros. And I'm not saying they followed the members only and used the rule of 3 that I suggest. I'm saying that in their homework, they dialed in and settled for those same particular areas that I would tell you in the members only that you should be fishing. So again, a little more confidence to me. Gonna pat myself on the back. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be arrogant. I'm not an arrogant person, but it was nice, confident feeling to see 87 of the very best pros, and they're landing, especially the top men. They're landing right where they're supposed to be because that's what they're the best at. But they're landing right in the same conclusion as McFarland Fishing does with the clients. So awesome week here on Lake Fork, the Goat Lake. I really appreciate everybody. Again, consider the members only. If you have a laptop or a desktop, just hit the join button, follow the procedures. Really hard to find it through your iPhone or your telephone. I mean your Android. But anyways, that's how we can do it. Love to see you there. Appreciate you watching. I'm Mike McFarland, the Lake Fork Guide.